noble and kind. These were the words used by Pope Francis to describe his predecessor Pope Benedict XVI, who died at the age of 95 on Saturday. Speaking at a New Year's Eve vigil in St. Peter's Basilica, Francis paid homage to the Pope Emeritus for his work and his faith. Pope Francis said, "With emotion we remember a person so noble, so kind. And we feel in our hearts so much gratitude to God for having given him to the Church and to the world, gratitude to him for all the good he has done, and above all for his testimony of faith and prayer, especially in these last years of his retired life."
Pope Benedict XVI, Joseph Aloisius Ratzinger, the 265th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. Pope Benedict XVI, born Joseph Aloisius Ratzinger, was one of the most influential Catholic theologians of the modern era. A man of deep intellect, quiet humility, and profound faith. He served as the 265th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church from 2005 to 2013. His life journey from a small Bavarian village to the chair of St. Peter was shaped by history, hardship, and an unwavering commitment to truth. This is the story of Pope Benedict XVI. Early life and childhood. Joseph Aloisius Ratzinger was born on April 16, 1927, in Marktl am Inn, a small town in Bavaria, Germany. He was born on Holy Saturday, a detail later seen by many as symbolic of his lifelong devotion to the Church. His father, Joseph Ratzinger Sr., was a police officer known for his strong moral convictions and open opposition to Nazism. His mother, Maria Pintener, was a cook and homemaker, deeply religious and gentle in nature. Joseph grew up in a household where faith, discipline, and conscience were central values. As Adolf Hitler rose to power, Germany entered one of its darkest periods. The Ratzinger family moved frequently due to Joseph Sr.'s resistance to Nazi ideology. These early experiences left a lasting impression on young Joseph, shaping his views on morality, freedom, and the dangers of totalitarianism. World War II and early faith. Like many German boys of his generation, Joseph Ratzinger was forcibly enrolled in the Hitler Youth during World War II. However, participation was compulsory and he remained personally opposed to Nazi ideology. In 1944, he was drafted into the German army and assigned to an anti-aircraft unit. Toward the end of the war, he deserted and was briefly held as a prisoner of war by Allied forces. He was released in 1945, returning home to a Germany devastated by conflict. These experiences strengthened his spiritual calling. Amid ruins and suffering, Joseph became convinced that faith, truth, and moral responsibility were humanity's only true foundations. Priesthood and academic brilliance. In 1946, Joseph entered the seminary with his brother Georg Ratzinger, who later became a priest and musician. On June 29, 1951, the two brothers were ordained priests together, a moment Joseph later described as one of the happiest days of his life. Ratzinger quickly distinguished himself as a brilliant scholar. He earned a doctorate in theology and began teaching at leading German universities, including Bonn, Munster, and Tübingen. His writings focused on the nature of faith, the relationship between reason and belief, the dangers of moral relativism. Though often labeled as conservative, Ratzinger viewed himself as a defender of authentic Christian tradition rather than a political ideologue. Second Vatican Council. In the early 1960s, Joseph Ratzinger emerged as a rising theological voice. He served as a theological advisor at the Second Vatican Council, 1962 to 1965, a historic event that reshaped the modern Catholic Church. Initially seen as a progressive thinker, Ratzinger supported church renewal but grew concerned when post-council interpretations drifted toward doctrinal confusion. He believed reform should remain rooted in tradition, not abandon it. This period marked his transition into a theologian, committed to preserving the Church's core teachings while engaging with the modern world. Archbishop and Cardinal. In 1977, Pope Paul VI appointed Joseph Ratzinger as Archbishop of Munich and Freising. and later that same year he was made a cardinal, despite his academic background. Ratzinger accepted pastoral responsibility with humility. However, his life would soon take a decisive turn that placed him at the heart of Vatican authority. Prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith in 1981. Pope John Paul II appointed Cardinal Ratzinger as prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, one of the most powerful positions in the Vatican. For over 24 years, Ratzinger served as the Church's chief guardian of doctrine. He worked closely with John Paul II, helping shape church teaching on bioethics, sexual morality, liberation theology, secularism, and atheism, often portrayed by the media as the Panzer Cardinal. Those who knew him personally described him as gentle, soft-spoken, and deeply kind. Election as Pope on April 19, 2005. Following the death of John Paul II, the College of Cardinals elected Joseph Ratzinger as Pope. He chose the name Benedict XVI, honoring Saint Benedict of Nursia, patron of Europe. Pope Benedict XV, a peacemaker during World War I at age 78. He became one of the oldest men elected to the papacy. From the very beginning, Benedict XVI emphasized humility, famously describing himself as a humble worker in the vineyard of the Lord. Papacy and vision. Pope Benedict XVI's papacy focused on faith and reason, warning against moral relativism and the loss of spiritual identity in modern society. Key themes of his papacy included the harmony between faith and intellect, the centrality of Christ, the importance of liturgical reverence. He authored 3 volumes on Jesus of Nazareth, presenting Christ not merely as a historical figure, but as the living Son of God. Challenges and criticism. Benedict XVI faced significant challenges during his papacy. The global clerical abuse crisis, declining church attendance in Europe, tensions with secular governments. While criticized by some, he took decisive steps to address abuse, meeting victims and enforcing stricter measures against offending clergy. His academic style and reserved personality often contrasted sharply with the charismatic public image of his predecessor. Historic resignation. On February 11, 2013, Pope Benedict XVI shocked the world by announcing his resignation, the first pope to do so in nearly 600 years. He cited advanced age and declining strength, stating he could no longer adequately fulfill the demands of the papacy. On February 28, 2013, he officially stepped down and became Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. His decision was widely praised as an act of humility and responsibility. Life as Pope Emeritus. After resigning, Benedict XVI lived quietly within the Vatican at the Mater Ecclesiae monastery. He devoted his time to prayer, reading, and reflection. He rarely spoke publicly and maintained strict loyalty to his successor, Pope Francis, emphasizing unity within the Church. Death and legacy. Pope Benedict XVI passed away on December 31, 2022. At the age of 95. The world mourned a man remembered not for grand gestures, but for intellectual depth, spiritual clarity, and quiet faithfulness. His legacy lives on through his theological writings, his emphasis on truth and reason, his historic resignation. Closing reflection. Pope Benedict XVI once said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." Joseph Aloisius Ratzinger's life was a testament to that belief, a life devoted not to power, but to truth.